We are here today to pay homage to a great man, to a legend, not only of the game that we love, but of the world. A man that will go down in history as a two-time W Coupe champion. A new husband, or fiance. Man with a new haircut. He's always just coming with surprise after surprise after surprise for his fans, and all we can do is watch it all as he takes the world by storm. And we all love Spraggy here, and this is going to be a second part of the analysis of how he played his W Coupe run, where he won $68,000 fucking dollars. Crazy shit. Crazy shit. I believe his biggest ever online score. And I'm just going to get the chat up 1 second. Let's sort this out. You can be up there. First person in there. Yumpin. What's up, brother? You're part of the Mushroom Kingdom, I see. Okay. So, I believe if I go like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, yeah, go with cinema mode. Let's try and get the chat really visible. I believe maybe we go a bit more there so we can see Spraggy a bit more. How's that looking? Just arrange some stuff. I think it's looking good. Hopefully we don't need more than one scene, so I don't need to be looking at anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, Spraggy himself. I'll let him do the introduction, and then we'll start with the analysis. I like how you, being such a wealthy man, can still appreciate the 7,969. I appreciate any number that ends in 69, my friend.
Well, welcome to the final.
Good morning from Melbourne. Hello, my prisoner friend. I'm sorry what's happened to your country.
If you want to watch the journey to the final table, you want to watch the preceding hands, then go check out that video. You can just enjoy this one on its own. You can enjoy the final table as a standalone if you so wish. Thank you very much for watching, tuning in, subscribing, commenting, liking, and all that tackle. I will not keep you. Here's the final table.
Kiku. What are you talking about? Sound too low? How's that?
Final table.
7 hands as well, you got a ladder there.
Do we?
I think so, no? Was this supposed to go like 8-handed?
Maybe,
Is it good?
Maybe it was a 7, dude.
We working?
I mean, maybe it's just...
Either way.
Yeah. Well, good luck, brother.
Thank you. Here we
What's up,
are.
Marius,
We've
my
got
brother?
Wilday's drawn to our direct left, which is
I'm a piece
not
of
ideal.
myself. Usually,
But
sometimes.
I also have 8 million chips, which is fucking ideal. So.
Super ideal.
Right, can you hear me well over? Right, if I speak like this, can you hear me well over Sprags?
Nearly 6k bounties. We've got nearly 10k.
And
And 65 blinds deep with a lot of shorties. We're gonna play as best we can.
Still good?
We ran really fucking good to get here.
So we'll look at the chip distribution here. It's very, very relevant that Wild Ace Hun is the bounty daddy and left on our left directly with the biggest stack. Bounty daddy thing actually doesn't matter. Just the big stack thing. It means that if he's the kind of... Okay, there are a few types of players in these kind of spots. You'll get some players, they'll be first and second in chips, and they'll just try and hammer the person in second. They won't let him open too much. It means that we can't have too many wide opens, and it definitely means we can't have too many wide rejams, which is kind of a ball ache when you're playing a bounty tournament. You want to go bounty hunting, but you don't want to be all in just in case Wild Ace wakes up with, you know, Jacks plus behind you. Togga sounds like he's in a fridge. So specific.
Really fucking good. We hit some cards.
Sorry to hear that,
in the last half hour.
Alex. I believe the Chinese Communist Party got
did
to
some
Australia
guys.
well before Corona came. Welcome to the Mushroom Kingdom,
Some
Dubai.
backdoors.
Alright, so limped pre... How many bigs are we on? Big blind's 120k. So we are on around 23 bigs. My maths is correct. 24 bigs. Do we raise Jack 3 suited? I don't think so. I think that around 24 bigs, we want to be a bit more polar. We want to have some maybe like Queen 3 off, those kind of hands, and, you know, 9 deuce off, and then our value hands that we're planning on raise calling. If we had something like deuces, we're probably shoving, worth noting. But Jack 3 suited, it plays a little bit too well, so checking's nice because we definitely get to see a flop if we check. And by raising and getting shoved on, we don't get to see a flop. So when they get to those limp shove stacks, the more limp shoves they have in their range, the more you want to polarize your raise range, blind versus blind.
Have a hand that can showdown. I certainly have a hand that can showdown now with my jack.
Sorry to hear that, huh?
And if we see another check, I'm going to value bet the turn. Sand Dominion, thank you for this. And if we see another
The
check,
check on the flop, I just assumed we're betting, honestly. Yakuti can definitely just have some check folds here. It's not that hard to turn up with, you know, Queen Deuce of Spades, you know, something like Jack 10 of Spades. And we got a ton of backdoors, like a ton of backdoors, and we can just have King X, you know, we're checking most of our King X. You know, anything less than King Jack, we're going to be checking. So that's King Deuce off and King Deuce suited, King 3, King 4, King 5, King 6, King 7, King 8, King 9, King maybe 10. So we just have a ton of King X, and he's got some check folds, we've got some backdoors, easy bet, 120k, maybe 130, you know, something like that.
some backdoors. Have a hand that can show down. I certainly have a hand that can show down now with my
Definitely
jack.
have a hand that shows down. If
And
Yakuti checks, we're in the dream spot. If I'm Yakuti there, I have not many check folds. I have many overbets. It's a really, really nice spot to just check flop, turn 500k, river shove. And the reason for that is that by checking the flop, when there's a bounty in play, in a spot where Yakuti might be perceived to check fold a ton, we're going to be betting a Spraggy all of our King X, probably all of our 7X, at least most of it. Maybe if we have something specifically like 7 deuce with the deuce of hearts, people might start checking those. So we're really, really capped. The best that we can the best that we can have is something along the lines of Queen Jack. And I don't know about you guys, but if I'm sitting there with Queen Jack of Spades, or if I'm sitting there with Queen Jack off, no heart, I'm fucking hating the turn, and I'm folding the river. So Yakuti definitely. I feel like it's a spot that people don't take enough as well because it's the final table. People are worried about ICM punting, things like that. But he's got a really, really nice spot, and it's a specific dynamic that really comes up a lot with bounties, where, you know, if you got a king here, you're like, don't know, I'm a big stack. He's got a bounty. I probably can't get it all, but, you know, I could put some pressure on. He's probably going to call me down light sometime. You know, it's that there's very, very specific dynamics that maybe this bounty spot isn't super relevant. I just realized the SPR is a lot bigger than I thought it was. But on the final table with a big stack against a short stack, there's some very, very specific spots come up. Did Spraggy see the King 8 hands? I believe he did. I believe he mentioned it in my chat in the last Bankroll Challenge video. Guys, shout out to the Bankroll Challenge. We're up to $8,000. We just made 10 buy-ins twice in a row. It's so wild.
Dominion, thank you for the sub. I'm not going to shout you.
The sizing here, interesting. Guys, what size would you go here? You know, Spraggy's gone for the old minimum size. What size would you guys go? Get your answers out in the chat, please. You're allowed to check as well. If you want to check, hit that check button, man. Let's, instead of because Guys. We're all over the place. Some of us doing fractions, some of us doing percentages, some of us doing numbers. Put just the number in for now. To buy, as much as I appreciate the heart, you can't check raise. We're in position. I have this when I coach the Charmanders. I'll be like, guys, what size would you go on the turn here? And it would just be like fraction, percentage, ratio. No one does ratio, but you know, it's just a shit show. So we stick with numbers here. 138k, 250k, 180k, 238k. All right, so let's think what we're trying to get value from / protection. There's a bunch of 7x, there's a bunch of 6x. We don't want to go a size that 7x and 6x can just consider folding. So I think something like 250k is already getting a bit too big, especially if you're sitting there with 6-5 off no heart and on the final table, some bets 250k. Honestly, I'm just folding. I'm probably just folding. So I'm personally I'm going bigger than 120. He just has too many hands, like 7-8 off with the 8 of hearts. You know, there's just too many like ace 3 off with the ace of hearts that will call a bit bigger. So I'm probably leaning somewhere in the lines of 180k. That being said, again, arguments can be made for many different sizes in this spot. If you want to even polarize and you want to go like 300k, I'm not going to hate you for it. I don't think it'd be terrible.
Thank you, everyone. Hit the sub button.
Always be thinking when you're choosing your size, what are we trying to get value from?
As I'm sure you'll appreciate.
Nothing to say here. It's just check on the river.
We don't have a heart and it sucks, but I think a jack is.
Interesting actually that Yakuti definitely could be leading here. He has the ace of hearts way more often than we do. Like, way more often. In fact, I can't think of a single combination of the ace of hearts that we have. Can you? Like, we just raised pre with the ton. We bet flop with the flush draws, so like ace deuce with the ace of hearts. Ace deuce of hearts. We bet the flop to try and stack him. On the turn, if we have something like ace 3 with the ace of hearts, we're just checking. We've got ace high, we've got a disguised, whatever, we've got a disguised flush draw. So I think we honestly don't have a single ace of hearts hand in our range. I can't think of a single fucking one. So maybe ace 6 with ace of hearts every now and again. So interestingly enough, I think Yakuti can just lead shove here. I know that's fucking wild. That's like 4x pot, just over, I think, maybe under. Brain's a bit slow right now. No, it's over. We got this, brain. You got this. I think Yakuti can just jam. If you turn up here with something like 6x no heart, like queen 6 of spades, I think you can just lead shove. And then if you want to be balanced, I feel like you can just do it with the ace of hearts, which you're going to turn up with a bunch. And if you don't want to be balanced, then fuck it. Don't worry about it. Just do it as bluff. Because it's really fucking hard for us to turn up with any good heart. Like, we don't have the king of hearts either, because we just bet the flop. We can turn up with the queen of hearts, although that bets the flop a ton. And yeah, same with like 10 of hearts. It's just really hard for us to turn up the good hand. So it's a really interesting spot that I think a lot of people would just absolutely miss.
Winning enough that there's no consideration ever to bluff that card.
I agree.
Showdown, and they have the 8. All good. I kind of want to give this a little tickle.
Guys, this is loose. That's loose. Spraggy, you dog. Man, if my students did this, I'd be like, all right, calm down. We're second place. We don't need to be giving away 770k. It's definitely loose. There are 1, 2, 4, 3, 4. I think I changed languages multiple times during that. There are 4 bet shove stacks, and any of them can feel like this might be a good spot. Maybe he's a bit too short to think that he has any fold equity, but these 3 definitely have fold equity. And if you can just turn up with a hand, and then we're kind of in a shit spot. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I understand the thought, but the thing is as well. Actually, to be fair, I think he does slightly cover him, so maybe he's a bit more incentivized to raise because he does cover the big blinds. But he's not incentivized to get out of line in the spot. He's third in chips out of 6. My brain, sorry guys, I just had a big dinner. I just had a big nap. My brain's a little bit slow. He's fourth in chips out of 6. And ICM wise, he's just not super incentivized to be opening wide. If I'm him here, I'm probably making some real tight folds. Like if I'm sitting there with like queen jack off, I'm probably folding. Even like ace deuce suited. It's just not a great spot to open. Just play real tight there probably. Maybe I'd open ace deuce suited, but yeah, it seems like a bit of a punt, but I appreciate the cojones. I'm trying to chip up.
This might be we might be getting out of line, chat.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit out of line. No.
This might be a
Don't
bit
tank.
small too. Maybe I just wanted to go one more pip.
Don't tank. Wait, what is it?
Might be a bit small too. Maybe I just.
No, sizing's fine. If you go one more pip, you're just losing more when you get shoved on, and probably priced in versus this guy if you shove. If he shoves.
Just wanted to go one more pip. Okay.
What is that sizing?
You got me.
What's the point? To decrease
You
your
got the
fold to
whole
4
squad
bet
item.
stat when you get shoved on? Or sorry, your fold to 5
Why am
bet
I the
stat?
way I am?
Toxic. And into it, bud.
I mean, he's just gonna have a very, very strong hand. I would imagine. I had king 7 suited, and I got a little licking.
Got them chirping chips.
Wow.
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 He's so memeable. I love
King
him.
jack off. We're just gonna fold again. Obviously, I like my open, and obviously, I like my fold.
Agreed.
The real trick in these spots, folks, let me tell you how to guide you through a 1K turbo PKO. The real trick in these
Please do.
spots is just run really fucking well.
Yeah, that's the one. That is the one. To
Run
run
well.
well though, you got to meditate.
Say.
All right, guys, are we raising or checking? It's definitely a good decision point here. How many big blinds is this man on? He's on, is that 24, 25? Something like that. All right, you guys are raising. Guys, get your raises or checks out in the chat. All right, most people are checking now. Yeah, raise would be a big punt here. It would be a big mistake. 5-4 suited is such a beautiful hand to take post flop. And the problem, so same thing I was saying before. When you raise, when in these short stacks, blind versus blind, you need to be thinking of every eventuality that can happen. Can he call? Yeah, we're fine if he calls. Can he shove? Definitely. He can definitely shove. And how sad is it to have to fold a hand that flops this well if he does shove? So hands like this that can't call or shove themselves but flop really well, they're beautiful to check.
And straight.
Ooh. It's either an amazing flop or a terrible flop. All right, what are we doing on this flop, boys? Check or bet, and if we bet, how much? In numbers, no percentages. EPT was counting. It was very funny. It was very fun to be part of that. I fucking love Mustafa. I met up with Mustafa actually maybe like 5 months ago. And he introduced me to one of his friends who owns Black Sheep Coffee. And now Thrive are probably going to be partnering with them in the future, which is nice. There's a lot of different sizes here. We've got min bet 180, 200, 100, which is illegal. 95, also illegal. I believe the minimum bet is 140, or is it 100? Yeah, 140. So you guys gotta size up a little bit to not break the rules and get kicked out of the tournament. Yeah, let's think about it. I think personally, I'm going to size the biggest size that doesn't look too fucking polarizing and suspicious. So I think I'm leaning something towards like 200, 210k, something along those lines. I feel like we're getting a call from pretty much every single pair he has. He definitely still has some really strong hands. You know, something maybe like pocket tens with a heart. And that's probably just going to be check calling on this board. And then we're getting a nice little chunk of value and protection when he does have something like, you know, king queen with king hearts, and more value than we would from a 7, a 6, or a 3 if we were to min bet. So I like around 200k, 210k. I don't know. If I were Spraggy's coach here, I would probably ask him his reasoning for all of this min betting in these limp pots. It might be some GTO reason where he's like, I want to have a lot of bluffs, but the Jack 3, was it? On the other hand, the min bet on the turn there, I think was just no bueno. So I'm very curious what his reasoning for doing it twice is
16 months, good luck
on these really wet boards.
The title. Thank you so much. I'm working on a title. What do I want to do here?
That is a good question. Thank you for asking it for me, Mr. Spraggs. What do we want to do here? 1 to check, 2 to bet, and if we're going to bet, how much we're going to bet. One to check, 2 to bet. You have to write 2, otherwise I'm just going to fucking ignore you guys. You've got to get your 1s and 2s out. Also, the problem with betting small on the flop is that it makes it slightly more annoying to try and get all in by the river. So yeah, with a hand this good, we just got to polarize, and we just got to try and stack this motherfucker, I think. It's annoying that we have to go so big now. But, you know, if he's sitting there with Jack 10 with the Jack of Hearts, he might just fucking call it all. He's really capped himself, you know, by check calling the flop. He's pretty much saying he doesn't have anything better than one pair, which means feasibly Spraggy could just fucking go for it here with something like King Deuce with the King of Hearts, something along those lines. So yeah, personally, I'm betting like 750k. That would make a 2.1 million and a half chip pot. And that would leave him with around 2.4, meaning that we can shove quite comfortably on the river. So personally, that's what I would be doing. Whether Spraggy decides to do that will be a definite question. And the reason that I think, other than the fact that, you know, I think we can really just get called down light, is that 3k bounty, man. Bounties on final tables are worth a ton. They're worth a ton. There's such a large proportion of the prize pool, and you know, around maybe like 2 tables left, they're actually worth a lot less, but by the time you get to the final table, they're big and they're worth loads. So you got a bounty hunt even when you get to the final table, despite all the pay jumps. So personally, I'm going about 700 to see what Spraggy does.
So I think a lot of my like pairs that value bet thinly on the flop are going to check. So I think my value bets here are like, maybe I'm even checking some 7x back.
Yeah.
So I think now my value bets are just like flushes, straights, 2 pairs. So I think I want to size up.
Oh, I thought we were on the same wavelength there, Spraggs. I like the sizing up. However, that ain't that big, to be fair. That ain't too big. Yeah, it's a bounty. I think you just got to go for it. You got to try and give yourself a chance to win that 3k.
These hands, I have 5-4. Seems like a good hand to big bet.
What would you do if you bet 750 and the river's like 9 of hearts? Just check it back, man. Check it back. If he leads, fold probably.
Okay.
Make volume louder or get close to mic. Yeah, tell me how that changes it. If maybe I can do something
again,
else.
I don't want to be limping too often as well, Son, because like they're the only player
How's
that
that?
me and they can just batter me. But ace 5 suited here, I think that would be too tight to mark.
Yeah.
Likewise, if they raid.
It's so personally, I'm not somebody that likes to limp too much blind versus blind, but this is the fucking dream spot to be doing it. Wild Ace can go pretty fucking ballistic. Now that he's got a much bigger chip lead than before, he's less de-incentivized to go after us. You know, he could double us up and it'd still be second in chips. So by raising to say like 450k, we're allowing him to really 3-bet quite liberally. So personally, I would actually start raising quite a few hands. I'd probably start raising like ace king, where I'm just like an ace queen, where I'm happy for him to 3-bet. But I'd be super unbalanced in that kind of regards. And ace-5 suited plays really nice as a limp call, maybe even a limp raise, but I'd say it's probably a tiny bit too good to limp raise, and the ICM just means you don't want to be limp raising too much. So I think this is just a beautiful spot to limp call.
Raise, I think.
On the flop, 9-5-4, 1 to check, 2 to bet, and if we're betting, how much? You're self-taught initially, yeah, Charlie? Yeah, pretty much. Like, I watched some grips, his bankroll challenge specifically. I have, unfortunately, a limp. But apart from that, it was completely self-taught. I played some fucking weird poker when I was moving up. It was some really fucking weird poker. It worked. Somehow it worked. But I'm sure if I look back at some of the hand histories that plays, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I remember when I was playing party poker, and I think I was learning like 200 now, and I'd learned how to float in 3-bet pots on king high boards, and how often they'd missed on the king high board. So let's say they 3-bet small blind, I call button with like jack 10 spades, and it comes just like king 5 deuce rainbow, no spade. They bet like half. I would just float, and they would just always check fold the turn. It was back in the days, people played so fucking face up. It was unholy. And it was such a fun time as well, because you really got to like do the maths yourself. You know, you got to be like, okay, here's his range, and here's how often he's hit this king high board. How often does this float need to work this, you know, and how big do I need to, and what price am I going to be getting, etc., etc. And it was just such a fun time to be able to just teach yourself. Now you have solvers telling people like roughly how to play. It's kind of a bit more boring. There are still explorations into the game that are gorgeous, beautiful, unexplored. These jungles which are waiting to be macheted down by new adventurers. 100% these still exist. It's just in a kind of different format. There's different layers of the game that are waiting to be explored, especially live tells. All right, so what's everyone doing? Mostly, actually, it's probably like 50-50 there. I'm checking. When we limp blind versus blinds, something to keep in mind, and he checks, something to keep in mind, he's going to have more 9x, more 5x, and more 4x in his range. You know, he's going to have 9 deuce off, 9-3 off, 9-4 off, 9-5 off, 9-6 off, 9-7 off, you know, all of those things. We probably have 9-7 off plus. And he's going to have 5 deuce off, etc. So when we check, and I'm not big on like range advantage, so we have to check, but it does mean that when we check, he's going to be stabbing quite a bit more, and because he knows he has range advantage, so it's a really nice hand to be checking. I think you just don't want to be up against a 9. You don't want to get raised. Like, it really sucks if you bet like 200k and he makes it like 700k here, and you're just like, and he can do that with just fucking like 6-3, 7-8, 6-7, loads of fucking hands. So yeah, check seems pretty superior.
Flop a pair, a lot of checking for me, especially against his opponents, so we're going to check.
Oh, and he's got some reads. Apparently the wild ace is aggressive, good to know. Unless he means that there's just a stack difference.
I think I got you.
Poker in the metaverse. Ooh.
We're not going to fold, obviously. We've got a very strong hand for a blind. Easy decision, bigger turn.
Interesting to note just the sizing that he used. He did use minimum. Not too much you can read into it, given that there's basically no size that he can use that would get Spraggy all in by the river, unless he really fucking wants to go for it. You know, if you're sitting here with 5-4, you maybe you want to bet like 500k and then just try and get him all in by the river. But people don't tend to do that. So if he is sitting here with something like King 9 off, he's not necessarily going to be going big to try and get a bounty, because it's pretty impossible to get stacks in.
turn.
Spraggy was a heads-up cash specialist. I feel like I've heard him say that, yeah. So
Okay, thank you very much.
he's going to be very comfortable when ranges are wide. So that's a really good point.
The 3 gifters, welcome.
All right, so the turn goes check, check. You have to be thinking about his range. You have to be thinking about our range. I think first let's look at our range. So we definitely have some 9x. We do have some 7x. You know, if we have something like 7-6, we might even decide to take this line. We have a ton of ace high. You know, I imagine Spraggy's limping ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10. And they're all going to be check calling flop for min. We have some 5x and we have some 4x and maybe something like pocket 3s as well. So we have a pretty wide range, but mostly centers around pretty weak hands. You know, like not too much air, but a ton of pretty weak hands. So it's really hard for us to turn up too many bluffs here, which is pretty important. Like if Spraggy has something like king jack, he's probably not even going to bluff it. It's a spot where I think somebody in Spraggy shoes really does underbluff, and most high stakes rogues are really underbluff this spot, if not all of them. Or almost all of them. So I'm much more leaning towards checking. The opponent can have a really wide range. He can just have some 7x. He can have some potentially some 9x, maybe like 9 deuce, 9-3, something like that. Might decide to check back turn. He can have some 5x. He can have some 4x, so that's mostly checking. And then he can just have, you know, he can just have queen jack. You know, he can have 10-3 off. And hands like that, jack deuce off with 1 spade, perhaps something along those lines. So those hands are pretty incentivized to be betting. They can quite comfortably rep things. And as I said, we have quite a lot of weak hands. We have some king eyes, some ace eyes, some pocket 3s. So there's definitely a chance that our opponent will bluff, and then we have a pretty nice bluff catcher, depending on the size.
I feel like the majority of their 9x are going to bet. I don't know if I'm allowed to start value betting that thinly.
You're allowed to. Do whatever you want.
With ace 5, it doesn't seem necessarily that thin. Maybe there's some checking back with a 7 on the turn, but I think that's just going to click call. I'm still going to have some 9s the way that I want to be playing blindless.
I don't know if 7 will just click call. Probably would.
Blind here.
Yeah, I don't mind the bet at all. I don't mind it. I'd prefer a check, but I think that if you're going to bet, you definitely want to bet the size and just try and get a cycle from a 5 or a 4. But the problem is, like I said, it's just so hard to turn it with a bluff.
So I think I can bet. Try and get called by a 4, and obviously I have the nut 5.
The key thing here is that Spraggy's using a sizing which really matches the spot quite well. You know, if we're turning up with not many bluffs, which is definitely the case here, we definitely want to be using smaller sizes for a ton of our value bets. Kind of a game theory thing there. But the more bluffs you have, the bigger you want to go. The fewer bluffs you have, the smaller you want to go from a game theory perspective. When we get raised here, what are we doing? We gotta click 1 to fold, 2 to call, 3 to raise. Yeah. Maybe we can have 4 to shove as well. Fuck it. 3 to raise, 4 to shove. 1 to fold, 2 to call, 3 to raise, 4 to shove in ascending order. Let me think about what I do. My gut just says fold. There's something in me that just says a reg with a big stack expects to get hero called quite a lot, because there's this dynamic where the big stack's meant to pile on the second biggest stack, and he's meant to pile on the rest of them as well. This is a spot that looks like it can get hero called quite a lot. Like Spraggy just has a 7 here so often. Like so often Spraggy just has a 7, or a hand like he has a pocket 6s, a pocket 8s, or something along those lines. And it looks like, you know, if you're sitting there with a 7, you're just like, well, I only lose to a 9. He checked back the turn. it's like hard for him to have a 9 when he checks back the turn. So given that it's so hard for him to have value, it's a spot that I really expect people to underbluff with these specific dynamics. So that's me trying to articulate what my intuition would say. Obviously, he can be bluffing here. It's not 100% thing, but intuitively and rationally, I really lean towards a fold here.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, that's definitely an exploitative thought process, and this is what I mean when I talk about GTO versus kind of intuitive poker, or versus exploitative poker. You know, we might have similar theoretical overlaps in the way that the theory works of poker with exploitative versus GTO, but my thought process there is something that GTO players don't have. Like that's not something that they have. They want to have minimum defense frequencies, whatever the fuck they call it. They want to have good blockers. They want to have good unblockers, or whatever the fuck happens. They're working out what percentage of what kind of bluffs and what kind of value bets the opponent has, and working out what blockers we have, and working out where in their range they are, things like that. That didn't come into my mind. So it's definitely worth noting when one of the biggest criticisms of me and the way that I teach poker is like, well, GTO and exploit, they're two sides of the same coin. They're basically the same thing. It's like, no, they're fucking not. No, they're not. It's two different ways of thinking about poker. There's a ton of overlap for sure. But my thought process and the thought process that I would teach my students and your thought process are just different universes. They're not even slightly similar. So it's hugely different to be thinking about poker in the way that I would, and thinking about poker in the way that a GTO player would. 8-6 off, I'm afraid, doesn't make too much sense because the big stack's just going to be betting that 100% of the time.
It's possible they raise a 7 here for value. I do think the majority of the 9s are probably a favourite to bet the turn, although not always.
It's interesting actually that Spraggy, he definitely gets GTO coaching, but this is not a GTO thought process. Like he's basically just trying to work out how Wild Ace plays. He's not thinking about blockers, minimum defense frequencies. Maybe the blocker stuff does come up at some point, but it's definitely not a pure GTO thought process. Like Linus Love is gonna be having, which is one of the top GTO players, maybe the top GTO player in cash games. He's going to be having a wildly different thought process to Spraggy, and I like that Spraggy's having this thought process.
I am still going to have a 9 sometimes. I'm also going to have a 7 sometimes. Which, if we think that our opponent can be raising a 7 for value, we should be better off blocking that, right?
Now, there come the blockers.
Like 6, 7,
there come the blockers.
Spades,
And it's definitely relevant. Like the stuff that he's saying is definitely relevant. In my opinion, there are more human factors that are more relevant in this kind of situation. So if my student were in this kind of spot and they were talking about having blockers or where we are in our range, stuff like that, I'd be like, true, but have you considered these factors? And perhaps there's more value to these phenomena than there are to the ones that you're saying. And in my opinion, it's not even close. And this is actually a really good spot to illustrate that, I think.
A7, something like that. Then obviously I still have a 9, so actually probably just gonna fold. But I don't know in the first instance. Maybe I'm not allowed to. Maybe I'm not allowed to bet the river. But I do think folding is okay. I wonder what this does.
And that I think really speaks buckets for the difference between a game theory player or somebody that's learning game theory and me. I never have that sentence, I wonder what this does, go through my head. And I know it seems like a small thing, but it's 100% very indicative of a GTO player, because that's basically saying, like, theoretically, what is the best answer? And that's not how I think. I don't think theoretically what is the best answer. Maybe I do if, I'm fucking like open jamming 11 bigs. But even then, you have to be adjusting based on a bunch of things. You have to be adjusting based on dynamics. You have to be adjusting based on how much fish on the table might be overfolding. You have to be adjusting based on stacks and, you know, how nice your you know, shove spots are going to be in the future. That it's just so hard to have a spot where there's like, here is a definitive answer about what's best. And in my mind, instead of thinking, I wonder what this does here, I'd be like, what's the highest EV play? And I know it sounds small, but it's definitely a big difference.
I feel like it rips. Oof.
Why is the moon just as big as the sun in a solar eclipse? Because it's closer.
Opening into the two of us, fuck.
Ooh, wild. Let me think about that. I assumed we were going to be 3-betting. We're on 25 bigs, right? It's funny. Like, out of all the high stakes players, I flat the small blind so much more in these kind of spots where they'll be like, I'm jamming 33 bigs. You know, I'm just flatting. Fuck it, I'm just flatting ace jack off. You can go fuck yourself. I'm playing small ball poker. All right, guys, what would you do in this spot? I'm trying to coach, so I'll let you guys answer first. So you can say 1 to call, 2 to 3-bet, and say what size if you're going to 3-bet, and then 3 to shove. Oh, he's actually on 27 bigs, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. 7 plus 420. I think I'm 3-betting to like 1.1. And the reason for that is I think Yakuti can definitely find some 4-bet shoves with deuces, with ace-5 suited, hands like that, if he thinks we're over 3-betting the spot. And we just want to give ourselves a chance to stack Yakuti. Shoving, I think, is a bit much. I mean, it's going to be plus EV. It's going to be plus chip EV, 100%. It's almost definitely going to be plus money EV. And it's definitely worth noting for you all out there that don't know this. The difference between plus chip EV is like how many chip EV is how many chips on average am I going to be winning or losing by making this play. And then money EV is how much money on average in the whole tournament am I going to be making or losing doing this play. And you want to be looking at money EV, not chip EV when you're playing tournaments. You can use chip EV as like a baseline sometimes and then adjust because sometimes it's really hard to work out money EV. And if worth noting, if you use PeerSolver or something like that, it will be doing chip EV, not money EV, and it won't be taking into account lots of factors. 3-betting is a bit scary for a hand like King 10 CF flop. Yeah, 100%. Like if we 3-bet and he peels, you're like, oh, don't. Give me 8 3 deuce. Give me 8 3 deuce. Give me 9 3 deuce. You know, you're hoping for very specific flops or for him to like fold on the flop or something like that. However, I feel like he doesn't have too many flats. Unfortunately, when he does flat, he does have a ton of equity against us with like Jack 10 suiteds and stuff like that. But I think we just want to give ourselves, and that's a very good point. You want to be weighing up all these factors. I think we just want to give ourselves a chance to get away from it. If he shoves, and we want to give ourselves more of a chance to stack Yakuti, which is definitely a possibility. And also, I want to be bluffing this spot. You know, talking from like a balanced perspective, which I hate. But this is a spot I 100% want to be bluffing. You know, I want to take some fucking like King 8 off here and go for it. So I think flat's kind of no bueno, but I definitely understand he's playing some small ball poker. I appreciate that. What do we do if wild ace shoves? That's all. Okay, yeah, actually happened. That's also an issue with flatting is that wild ace just turns out a fucking like ace deuce suited here, and you're like, I guess I'd fold. Brilliant, thanks. Unless you're feeling like a fucking baller. In which case, fuck. Actually, I don't know. If Yakuti folds here, I don't know if we're meant to fold. I don't know if I'd want to. I feel like we are meant to fold just because the chip distribution is so brutal for us to bust here, being in a solid second and up against the chip leader. But does he even shove jacks here? Does he even shove tens? Or does he make it like 1.2 million? Man, I don't know. And then we're just up against flips, and we're up against deuces, and we're up against ace-5 suited to be in a position to just win the tournament. I have no idea. Honestly, I'm really unsure about that. This is what I want to be asking one of my friends that studies ICM a lot more than I do.
Well, I can't go now. Maybe I should just rip in the first instance.
Yeah, ICM definitely is a huge factor here, but if you double, you're fucking in a nice spot to win the tournament.
Not as, like, straightforward as you guys are gonna think.
And make a bunch of bounties as well, which is really important. Although on the other hand, you don't get any bounties if you bust. it's a rough one.
Not.
All right. Well, when he calls, it's a fold, and that's the thing. Oof. That's the thing. If you're up against fives, you're fucking super happy. You're super happy.
Now I don't know what the fuck's happened, but I folded 2 nines. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you just 3-bet pre, he folds. Probably get it in against ace 10.
I mean, obviously, like, I have to fold to the wild ace sun regardless because ICM, but maybe I do just jam in. Oh, goodness me. No,
Goodness
don't apply
me.
pressure to me. Do not apply pressure to my stack right now. Oh my god! Chat, this is it. The 4th place ladder.
It's so consistent that the streamers say chat. Out of interest. 1 in the chat if you don't like that. 2 in the chat if you do like that. And just to reiterate, that's when streamers refer to all of you as chat. Wait, no. 1 is you don't like it. 2 is you do like it. Oh, so it's like 50-50. Maybe like 60-40 for people that do like it. I don't like it. But if you guys like it, well then, chat, I love you. 3 don't mind. Yeah, that's fair. I just feel like it's very depersonalized. You know, it kind of like skips the fact that all of you are people. I like calling people by their names.
1375, my old hero, Kenny 05. Motherfucking
My old hero, Kenny 05.
Imagine this guy jams.
Kenny's the boss.
Alright, hold.
Oh, 12.5%. King Jack's not doing good. DOTT. DOTT.
That's what I said, run good, get fucking aces, have someone shove. GG, Kenny 05.
Thanks, crazy.
Like I say, when I first started playing poker when I was 18 years old, I would log into PokerStars. Kenny 05 would be sat in like $600 hyper 6 max sitting goes and just like mass tabling, right?
Anyone know how old Spragg is? I feel like he's like 32, right? I feel like, you know, you get some people where you could tell me they're like 18 or you could tell me they're 40. I'm like, yeah, it seems fair. I feel like Spraggy has to be around 32. It's like a plus or minus 3. He's got a small age range, for sure. So when he was 18, so he was playing poker when he was 18. Let's assume he's 32. He's been playing around 14 years. Holy shite. That's a long fucking time. You'd think that he would eventually know when his kicker plays or not. I'm just kidding.
That was one of my first memories of being like, who the fuck is that?
I think you owned my first house.
Like,
I live in Farnham. I tell people that now because I'm moving in a month.
My old housemate, Ollie, we used to watch Kenny 05 all the time. It's so sick. And that's a big part. 7
King Jack off 20. Oh, good point. Good point. Let's analyze somebody else's play for a second.
Ace.
Yeah, you got to shove that. I think. Yeah, it just really sucks if it goes open, somebody shoves and you have to fold. So I just shoved it. It's definitely on the borderline of not being okay. Like if it gets up to like 22 bigs, you're not happy about it. But I feel like for 19, you want to do it.
Imagine this guy jams. All right, hold. I'll start playing hyper 6 max sitting goes and just like mass tabling, right? And that was one of my first memories.
The house is really cool.
Like,
I'm moving out in a month to a new place, which is equally as cool.
Me and my mate,
and I think higher vibration.
All the time. It's so sick.
Yeah, we're getting called by worse than King Jack? Probably
and
not.
That's a big part.
I don't think King 10 suited is calling.
4th place ladders is still 11. We've got 18k.
Maybe you can open. Maybe you can open. I'm on a. I think it's really close. I think it's close to just raising instead. Having a limp.
Parker.
Yes.
I've got pocket fucking 7s.
I used to do that to my friend Ben all the time. I didn't do it to me. It was actually interesting when Ben and I first moved in. I would be so good at doing that. I'd just like always be able to troll him, and he would just always fall for it. He's such a quick learner, and this really speaks. This is Ben Heath, the guy that I traveled the world with playing poker, and it really speaks to him as a person that he eventually got way better than me at trolling, to the point where, you know, he was winning like probably like 70% of our bouts of trying to out-level each other, and it went high level, like it was like 6th level thinking because we just knew each other so fucking deep. Which also reflects his poker. When we first moved in together, he was playing 10 and L, and then I coached him, and now he's just playing like fucking super high rollers, like 100k, 250k, whatever. So he's like intuitively not very motivated to get going and get really good at something, but as soon as somebody just gives him a nudge in the right direction, he's fucking rocket ship.
Not good to start.
I like them in bet. We can definitely have some 7x. We can have a bunch of Jack-X. Got to get 2 folds a lot. Big blind isn't very incentivized to check raise bluff because, you know, fucking 2 people that might have decent hands. We can also have aces.
It's at this point that Parker realized I did not have pocket 7s.
Don't know if I bet turn. I'm not going to ask you guys because it's not a super interesting spot. There's arguments for both. I feel like if you bet, there's a good argument to go huge. Just get this motherfucker off an ace. No, you could just have a fucking big hand. Don't know. That's a no. Yeah, maybe he just doesn't have a huge hand often enough that we definitely can get away with just going fucking huge and repping a 7. Bluffing a bunch of rivers as well. We are not you guys, we are chat. I love that.
Oh my god. I actually have the 7 though. I have 1 7. I was trapping.
You're an idiot.
I kind of don't want to show down my hand because I limped and min bet and I feel ashamed.
No, don't feel ashamed, bro. You play fine.
He's got a boat, he's going to bet, try and get me to call with a jack. I'm going to fold. I would rather not.
That'd be really annoying if we bet 2 million on the fucking turn and the river's a 7, and we're just like, oh, I guess we're up in quads. I'm all in.
Thank you. Let's go buy some a cup of tea. Be right back, Parker. Be right back, chat. We're gonna win a W coup. We're 3 away from another title.
People really underutilize these overbets and putting people in huge tough spots. And the fact is that people just overfold. People overfold in these big spots. Especially against people that don't usually take those huge spots. Some people will just like overcall against people like me or Adamo or whatever. People that know to be pretty wild. Shout out to the dishwashers.
We got queens on the button for 30 blinds. And they've been putting people in the cage.
It's a great spot for
Wild
Ace to be 3-betting.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Alright, maybe. I mean, they're just gonna 3-bet fold, right? So what's happening here, I would imagine, is they know I'm going to fold a lot. They don't jam because they're going to get away cheaper when I actually fucking have the nuts. So I think this is a pretty easy 4-bet with queen. Obviously, I do think they're just going to fold a lot.
He definitely still can have the top of his range. You know, if Wild Ace is sitting there with like jacks or he's sitting there with like Ace King, he wants to get Spraggy's bounty, and so he's a bit more incentivized to 3-bet call off than he he is to 3-bet fold. Than he is to shove, sorry. So it's definitely not a huge tell, but I think I agree with Spraggy. I expect Wild Ace to be turning up with a ton of bluff cities in this size.
But I don't think I have a choice.
Spraggy's not a
I
losing
think they're
player.
just doing this to apply almost the same amount of pressure, but they just get away cheaper when I get cooler. Or they have aces or kings and we're fucked.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I guess we're holding. I forgot about that.
Oh my god!
He took that like a fucking pro. Can we just have a little moment of appreciation for how he reacted to the ace on the turn? That was beautiful. I've seen a lot of streamers, I'm not going to name any names, but when they lose a flip, even when there's just like fucking 20 tables left, they're like smashing shit, they're hitting stuff, they're like kicking their wives. Look at that beautiful Zen reaction from Spraggy, the meditation master. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, that's just good. I wasn't even thinking of D-Negs. I forgot about D-Negs.
Oh my god! Stay in your fucking chairs. Don't leave the stream.
I love you, little mushroom.
What the fuck was that?
That is a good reaction.
I won the flip. I won the pot. I won the pot.
Really want to see an all-in here. Would love to see an all-in there as well, to be
on
honest.
the turn. I stopped believing just momentarily.
I'm probably checking this. There's obviously loads of reasons to be raising. Gonna get a ton of folds. Can still get much value on ace-high boards because it looks like we can be quite bluff heavy. If he does limp raise, it's kind of annoying. Ace-9 offs, that kind of that board line where you're just like, I don't really want to call, don't really want to fold, don't want to shove, so nothing really feels too nice. So raising definitely reasonable, checking definitely reasonable.
I stopped believing.
Probably fucking one of the like top 1% of flops you can get.
Chip lead.
All right, guys, 1 to call, 2 to raise. What are we doing? Killer Ooh should be doing a lot of checking on this boards. As I said before, in a similar kind of spot, we're going to have way more deuce X, way more 3X, and also more 9X as well. So he should be doing a ton of checking, theoretically. The fact that he's betting might mean that he's just trying to get a fucking, like, cheap folds. You know, it's something like Jack 10. Yeah, so personally, I think I'm leaning more towards a raise here. We can definitely see him turn up something like 5s that's betting for values, a worse 9X. Can definitely have overpairs, but it's just combos-wise, there just aren't that many of them.
We've got a really strong hand here. Dynamic has changed obviously a little bit. Me and this guy are right in front. Obviously, I'm way more out in front than they are, which means perhaps I should just raise my hand on the flop. Maybe I should actually just raise it pre.
I feel like that was kind of a jumble of words from just an excited Spraggy. I'm not sure they're his real thoughts.
Ever there was an argument for me having had a haircut, so I'm not fucking with my band.
He's so excited. And we're going to take that into account when we watch him play and when we watch him speak his thoughts especially. He seems to be playing really fucking well. In general, like there's loads and loads of thought going behind his play. Like I can see that as a professional poker player. He's not just making random moves. When he tries to articulate his thoughts, that's another story. But we can't blame a man for being excited. He's in a great spot to have his biggest ever win, online at least. What's Spraggy's Hendon mob? There it is. His name's Spragg? I've never heard of Spragg. Oh, he hasn't played too much. Oh, he's barely... Oh, wait. No, this is it. 2011. 10 fucking years ago. Damn. He played a 25k and cashed it. Sick. What a weird Hendon mob. If I saw this, I'd think it was a recreational player. that are just like satellited into the 25k. Huh. Cool. Such a funny one.
Like huge fan of the
Back to
full
my stars. Yeah, I was thinking that too. All right, guys. 1 to check, 2 to bet. If we're betting, how much are we betting? I'll give you a few seconds on this one. Yeah, it's not close. You just got to check this one. We can have a 4. They can have a 4. We can have 7-8. He can have 2 pairs. There's just there's absolutely no reason to be betting here. We have the best hand most of the time, but he's always calling with a hand better than ours, and he's really rarely calling with a hand worse than ours. You know, if he's sitting there with something like, I don't know, like King 3, Ace 2 of clubs, he's just gonna be folding when all of our bluffs get there, or almost all of our bluffs get there.
Definitely
Spraggy, 6'5". Jesus.
They improve their hand. It's going to put me in a really awkward spot.
Killer's not going to be leading either when we just have 7-8 and he doesn't.
When they, I think, given how they expect me to be playing, at thinly they might expect me to value bet, which is not going to be thinly at all. I do think if they have a 4, they are for the most part going to lead.
No. It's about when it's a final table, he can't be putting himself in a shit spot like this. You know, we can have 7-4, we can have 7-8. So if he leads a 4 and gets shoved on, he probably is just going to fold it. And we still have bluffs in our range, you know. Yeah, most of our bluffs get there, but we still have bluffs, and you know we can have 10-8. You know, we can have some clubs, you know, Jack 10 of clubs, something along those lines. Yeah, we can have a bunch more hands. Yeah, and it just doesn't make any sense for him to be leading a 4 here into what could just be a nutted hand. So value betting here, I think, is a really big mistake if he does do it.
I think when I have the hand that I have,
especially going big size, it's not good.
Maybe they have some 2 pair, but what, like 9-5, 6-5,
6-5, 3-5.
I think with the nut 9,
3-4, 6-4, 9-4.
Because I don't think they expect me to value bet thinly, so check raising a 4 isn't going to work for them. I think if they have 2 pair, they continue to bet the turn.
Pocket
So the only
4s.
2 pair they're going to have
Ace 4.
9-5.
How big did we bet turn?
I would just obviously I'm pretty some
Maybe not Ace 4.
they made
Maybe.
how they expect me to be playing.
King 4 of clubs, those kind of hands.
9,
So-
not 9, thinly, so I think
It's a pretty big punt on the river there. I'm going to say that.
Honestly,
Pretty high
I
certainty.
call this.
Interesting. Guys, one to fold, 2 to call. 1 to fold, 2 to call. If Killer 2 folds, obviously. Do I bet deuces on the river? I probably do bet deuces on the river. Uh, 7K. 67K up top. So it's probably like 20K paid out. I'm folding it.
7K bounty. I think I call.
I don't know. But
Maybe
I'm
not.
folding it.
It's a lot though. 7K.
We get his bounty some decent amount anyway.
Live. Just need Nate or deuce. It doesn't really change too much though, right? Like with 7,000.
Doesn't change too much at all. Yeah. ICM wise, he's still doing
Chat, maybe
great.
I'm a punter. Maybe I'm a punter.
You might be a bounty hunter.
Very strange.
Don't shove.
I think in a PKO I can 3-bet call.
Yeah, exactly. I love it, Spraggy. Fucking love it.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Love to see it. We can have a ton of bluffs here. It's like a really nice stack distribution to be bluffing here. You know, if we have something like King 10 off, Wild Ace can shove and we can really happily call. This guy can shove and we can really happily fold. So we can go like king 10 off, fucking king 9 off. We can have ace 5 suited. There's a ton of hands that really want to be bluffing in these kind, especially hands that have high cards in them. So we're more happy to call off if wild shoves, because we'll have more equity in general, and obviously we'll have blockers against Killer Oo's shoving range.
This is for like the win if he shoves, by the way. Not guaranteed, but it's
pretty fucking guaranteed, yeah. It's not guaranteed, it's fucked. What the fuck are those dudes doing in the corner? Man, I gotta up my stream game. Who the fuck made that film? It's beautiful.
On the bar.
You want that?
It's a good open there with ace 4 off, just
this
noting.
One we raise.
You want to be really hammering in these kind of spots.
And I don't think I fold if they jam.
Of course not. Ooh. Alright. 1 to check, 2 to bet, and if we're betting, what size are we betting? It's interesting. I think that I'm leaning towards actually going a bit smaller. I don't think I want to try and stack him. I don't think I do. It's close, but because ICM's the way that it is, I actually probably want to play a 2-street game here with jacks. I might be. Obviously it depends on the run out. If it comes like deuce deuce, we're not. But I probably just want to try and make sure that I maximize value. So maybe going like 3 big blinds on the flop. And then making some turn decisions. You know, if the turn's like a 6, maybe like betting big and checking river, something like that. Something along those lines. I think if you put this into a solver, it's just going to be like bet big, shove river. But solvers don't take into account ICM and like future and bounty equity and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm sure there are fucking some solvers that try and take into account ICM, but I bet they're no good at the moment.
Maybe not actually. What am I talking? This is too short sex here. Maybe there's peeling. 10's probably more so than 8. Maybe not actually. Maybe rip 10's and 8's pre. Maybe not actually. What am I talking? This is too short sex here. Maybe there's peeling. 10's probably more so than 8.
Yeah, I can see them ripping 10s, maybe not, definitely not 8s. So it's worth noting that you saw how much thought I put there into Spraggy's not arrogant. You saw how much thought there I put into just a simple flop sizing thing. And this is something that a lot of people, they're not doing. And even some of the top regs, they're just like, I know on this board with this hand, I'm meant to be betting this size. But it's such a unique spot. It's such a unique spot. This isn't going to come up before. You've never put this into a solver. It's never going to come up again. When you have this chip distribution with these bounties on this board with this hand against this player, there's too many variables for this to repeat itself. And there's really good arguments for betting huge. You know, there's really good arguments for betting smaller. And there's really good arguments for betting medium. I think not so good arguments for betting like 500k or less. But there's so many variables you have to be taking into account. Checking is bad. You're just losing so much value. Like when you're deciding whether to trap or not, you essentially want to be trapping generally until you're playing the high stakes. This is the general rule if you're trapping. Can you get value from a bunch of other hands? If not, don't trap. You know, in the Brad Owen vlog, which I analyzed, he opened King Jack of diamonds and it came like Ace 10 3 diamonds or something like that, and he checked back, and it's one of those spots just like you can get value and stack a ton of hands by checking. You're now not stacking Queen X of diamonds a bunch of the time. By checking, you're now not stacking top 2 pair. And so if you check here, you're not getting value from 10x, you're not getting value from 8x, you're not getting value from 5x, you're not getting value from all of the straight draws, which is a ton of combos, all this 6-7, all this Jack-9, all this Queen-Jack, all this, you know, there's just there's loads of them. Yeah, I feel like Spraggy's pretty humble. Yeah, he's definitely not arrogant.
Sizing's probably fucked. I don't know why Jeff has.
At least he doesn't come across it to me.
Needs to just calm down.
Maybe he has like
Maybe we
bursts
go
of
some big
arrogance
bets on
because
that ball, but I don't think we have.
it's hard to be a young spunky dude like Spragged and have all the success and not get arrogant at some point. But no, he's good. Again, 10-9, you just don't want to get limp raised. It just really sucks. 10-9 suited, maybe you do. Maybe you're happy to call a 3-bet. But 10-9 off, you're just like super happy. It plays lovely post. So we're just going to be checking.
Not really well. Not really well. Likes to jump from the chair when the queen hits. I assume there's a few people who jump from the chair when that queen hit. Holy shit.
I just got sent a video of Marty actually with Sam Abernathy. It was one of the funniest videos of them in the back of an Uber. The way that they handle like disagreements with the Uber driver, the difference between them was just so fucking funny.
Queen. I'd have been out in fourth instead of.
So again, he goes for the min bet on the flop, and I just don't like it. I really don't like it. You know, you can get more value from 7-6, ace-9, 8-6. There's just so many hands you can get more value from. And you're also just not going to be betting too wide, so you probably want to just be sizing up from a theoretical perspective. So I think Spraggy's just kind of clicking buttons at this point. I have no idea who Anthony Joshua is, and I don't know who he's fighting. So. Yeah, Sam is one of the loveliest human beings I've ever met in my life. She's part of the Charmanders now, and she's melded into the group as part of the family in such a beautiful way. I honestly, out of all the people I know in the world, Sam's just one of the people that I just wish the best for her in life. I just hope she gets fucking everything that she needs in life. She's just such a kind and pure-hearted person. So if anyone comes across Sam Abernathy, give her a smile, give her a compliment, because she's genuinely just such a fucking awesome human.
I think it's quite a nice hand to check. We want to be able to have some calls on like a straightened river. If I have like 9-4, I probably
Sam Grafton's like a caricature of a human.
But
fucking love him.
Some hands in my range that are going to be able to call or raise when the river straightens out. It's nice to...
Interesting check. What was his reasoning?
Straighten river. Phoenix. Up men, I'd have been out in fourth instead of chip leading four-handed. So we bet the flop, men, we get called. Again, I don't think there's that much like bear, queen X. I think it's quite a nice hand to check. We want to be able to have some calls on like a straightened river. If I have like 9-4, I probably want to bluff, right? But
this is some GTO bollocks. I'm just gonna say it. Sorry, I'm just gonna be a bit direct here. Guys, if this is part of your thought process when you're playing your hands, and I'm being, you know, Spraggy's gone down the GTO route, so you know he'll definitely have people that will coaching them that will disagree with me, but this is the way that I would speak to my students. You're on my stream, so I'm going to speak to you like you're my students. If this is part of your thought process of like, oh, we need to have some 9x on the river that can call, stop it. Fucking stop it. It's absolute nonsense. It doesn't matter what your actual range is in this spot. He doesn't know what your actual range is going to be, so you're just living in fantasy land. What matters is your perceived range. He's going to be playing against what he thinks your range is. So in reality, the thing that matters isn't what your range is. You're not running this simulation a million infinite times or whatever. You're running the simulation. You're running this hand once. So he has a perceived range of yours in his mind, and he's going to be playing against that. So whether you have some fucking 9-4s in your range or whether you don't, it doesn't fucking matter. So when you bet here, if you're betting all of your 9x and you know the river straightens out or something like that, he's not going to know whether you have all of your 9x. If you're checking a ton of your 9x and the river straightens out, he's not going to know whether or not you have a bunch of your 9x. He's probably just going to assume you're relatively balanced. And trying to create a strategy when it's such a high EV spot. You're on a final table, 4 people left, playing for, you know, the biggest online score of his life by the looks of it. Maybe the biggest score of his life. Just looked at his Hendon mob, didn't we? And he's thinking about, well, I need to be balanced in this spot. I need to have board coverage in this spot, which is like, so you don't get exploited in some other spot. And it's absolute nonsense. Like, if this is the biggest spot in your life, play your hand highest EV against his range. Is absolute. as a 4 hickers. It's absolute fucking nonsense to live in this faux reality.
I want to keep some hands in my range that are going to be able to call when the river straightens out. It's nice to do that when we have like a strong pair that probably can't go for 3 streets, because it also just gives us calls at the river, right? And
God bless you, my friends.
Here is a call at the
Shalom.
river and just kind of shrug, unless they bet like 4 million.
There's definitely an argument for checking. Like there's a bunch of arguments for checking. We probably have a bunch of bluffs in our range. If we check back and then bet river, he might decide to bluff some kind of hands, maybe something like king 6, maybe something like king 9, and you know we're pot controlling as well, so we don't get check raised. We don't always have the best hand. There's definitely arguments for checking. I think personally I'm probably leaning towards a bet just because of all of the combos of pair and straight draws or like ace 9, those kind of hands. But the reasons that he gave for checking were just, in my humble opinion, but my very strong opinion, is just absolute nonsense.
But if they bet like 800k even, we'd probably just look this one up.
Yeah, just call it. The villain definitely can have some queen X. He can have specifically ace queen, king queen, queen 9, and queen jack. And then he can have some 2 pairs, obviously like queen 7 suited, things like that. But I feel like he's going to be betting maybe just all of it on the river after it goes check turn, because it looks like we just have an 8 or we have a 7, maybe like a7. So there's very often an 8x. So I think he's going to be he's just going to be checking. He's just going to be betting his queen X. So I think that we could just have the best hands almost always here.
Do I think I want to bet with this kicker? Try and target an 8 or 7? I think so. I don't think I want to go for big sizing, so I'm really trying to target an 8 or 7.
I like the sizing, and here I love the thought process. It's so interesting watching Spraggy. Like he goes in between this GTO and non-GTO mindset. Now he's just like I'm going a size that I think an 8 will call, which is like not a GTO mindset. You know, it's that's more of an exploitative mindset. If I were going to put my coach's hat on it, I would probably say, dude, you got a bit of a messy thought process. Obviously, you're on stream, you're on a final table. It's a huge spot, so I don't believe I'm seeing your full reified, manifested thought processes. But jumping between GTO and non-GTO like that, I feel like it's really, really hard to balance. And you need to be using if you do want to be using both of those thought processes, you really need to be using your intuition more. You can't just say, okay, this means this, so I'm going to bet this. And now I'm going to be thinking GTO, so I'm going to bet this. You have to be like, here are all the variables, and I'm just going to feel what I think is right. But at the moment, it really seems like he's jumping from side to side.
And I can conceivably have some like bet check bets here that are bluffing.
For sure, some jack X and like 6 deuces, stuff like that.
For half ski, because I don't want to go big, but I don't want to bet less than half in position of the river, I think. So we're just trying to get called by like an 8-9 or whatever 8, like jack 8 or 7.
Exactly, yeah.
Or even like 10-6 suited, or our kicker plays.
Ooh, what the fuck? 1 to fold, 2 to call, and 3 to raise. Head again, touch the coaching. Just so you know, coaching's $500 an hour, and you can get in touch via Instagram. Yeah, Spraggy's face. Spraggy looks like a fucking French philosopher right now. He looks so deep in thought. He looks so interested in the situation. We're getting very good pot odds, first thing to note. Most people overfold in these spots because they forget that when you call, you're actually meant to be wrong most of the time, theoretically. From an exploitative standpoint, we just have to think, does it make sense psychologically for Killer U to take his value hands? Let's say he's got something like pocket queens. Let's say he's got something like jack 9. Let's say he's got something like pocket 7s. Let's say he's got something like aces. Does it make sense for these hands to want to take the line that they have? So let's replay the hands in our minds. Killer U check called flop for minimum. Definitely possible he can have aces. Definitely possible he can have queens because, you know, he's pot controlling. There's ICM in play. He's second in chips. We're first. So that's 100% a possibility. Now, check turn definitely makes sense. We check back. Now on the river, if he has something along the lines of aces, does it make more sense for him to bet or does it make more sense for him to check raise? Personally, I would expect most people to bet their aces. I would expect most people to bet even their pocket queens because our range here could have some bluffs. Obviously, we can have some Jack X, we can have some 6X, but not too many. I don't expect this spot to get bluffed super often, just because Killer Oo's range is pretty one pair heavy, and not too much stuff that has an easy fold. And then we have some 10X, we have 8X, and we have 7X. And 10X will call a bet, 8X might call a bet, and 7X might call a bet. But 8X and 7X specifically are going to be checking behind for sure. Weak 10X are going to be checking behind. So, you know, if we have like 10 deuce here, I feel like we're just going to be checking river. Maybe we'd be betting, but I feel like you can't count on that. And then if we do bet, how often do we call a check raise? And that then decreases it. So does it make sense for him to take bluffs like this? Now, the kind of bluffs that we're expecting him to turn up with would be something along the lines of 8-9, 7-6, 7-9, Jack-7, King-9, maybe King-9 bluff itself. Something with showdown value, but not too much of it, you know. And I can see if he turns up something like Ace-9 here, something like Jack-7, and he feels like Spraggy's just thin value betting a 10, or he feels like Spraggy might have something like Queen Deuce of Diamonds. I can see some arguments that it might decide to take this check raise line. It definitely looks really, to the untrained eye, I think this looks really strong. So if I were to try and like rate that out of 10, like psychologically, how likely is it that value hands would take this line, and psychologically and intuitively, how likely is it that a bluff would take this hand? I'd probably rate the bluffs slightly higher in the sense compared to theory or compared to normal, or compared to like other spots, because I feel just that the point that the value hands would be betting the river instead of checking, I think is pretty high. I think that's a really, really big factor. So I actually do expect bluffs to have kind of more psychological incentive to take this line than I do value hands. That being said, it's a really tough spot because a lot of people just never bluff this spot as Killer Oo. They just have 0% bluffs and some value. But I think against a good player, and I think getting pot odds, I'm calling here.
Yeah. That's really weird. That's really bizarre. I mean, I blocked the straight. I'm a little surprised to see them expect me to bluff the river and check raise for value.
Exactly.
Or value bet thinly and check raise for value.
You got 2 seconds, dude. Yes, boys! Yes, boys. Nice hand, Spraggy.
Value. Or I'm a little surprised to see them expect me to bluff the river and check raise for value.
Exactly.
Or value bet thinly and check raise for value.
Exactly.
I think I'm gonna call.
He thought that through really, really quickly.
That's exactly the sort of hand we target.
That was really, really impressive from Spraggy. I think that was beautiful. I think in that spot his professional poker player intuition's really, really shone brightly, because his brain went straight to the things that I think were most relevant. There's loads of variables you could take into account. You could use blockers, you could use unblockers, you could use fucking pot odds. I think that the biggest factor there that rational brain needed to kind of like hone in, because intuition can take into account so many variables at once. Rationality it's a very like knife-like part of our mind. It slices, it dices, and it has to hone in on one or two things at a time. And what he did is, I think his intuition jumped to the more relevant parts of the equation. And the more relevant parts of the equation, I think, are that he doesn't expect us to value bet thin, so he doesn't expect to get too many check raises, and he doesn't expect us to bluff. Those are the two things that I mentioned before, and I think they're the biggest factors. So I'm really, really impressed with Spraggy in this situation. And with two seconds left in the time bank, biggest tournament of his life, I think that really shows why Spraggy's had success in tournaments. I actually said in the last analysis video, there are some spots where I've been really impressed with him is when he sniffs out bluffs, and this is just beautiful. Honestly, making the call itself is difficult, but the way that he instantly thought about the right things, I think a lot of people when watching this, they really won't appreciate how deeply impressive that is.
Say, given what they expect me to do at the river, I don't think they got a real hand. So I'm gonna bet call it, and I've got that's like a huge part. That changes the dynamic massively.
You have to be wary not to be like results oriented or anything. You know, if he turned up with value, would we be singing his praises as much? I'd like to think I would, but obviously you have to be aware of your own human biases.
Yeah, I just don't think they're gonna check raise for the river for value very often. We're gonna non-all-in raise here.
Love it. If he limped there, I'd be really sad. But this is a spot where we want to be bluffing a ton. I think 2.8x is a bit too small. I might 2.8 with like aces and kings and queens. But I think specifically with ace-king, even ace-king suited, we probably just want to be like 3.2xing it or something. Nobody's going to know that we 2.8x it with aces only, by the way. Nobody's going to fucking know.
And obviously we're snapping.
Because people like Spraggy 2.8x it with ace-king. So we're balanced. Nice. Hold. No.
That's so huge.
No. 10.
That's so fucking huge.
Oh, I didn't know we lost that one. Brutal.
Oh my god, that's 25 million chips. That's 25 million chips in a ladder to
I don't know about that one, mate.
$307,000.
That's a slight exaggeration.
That was $20,000 immediately if I hold the all-in.
He does like a little moan sometimes.
Oh, sorry, a ladder worth.
I feel like when you've got to the final four in a tournament, it's not the right time to moan about running bad, you know. 25-ish.
7K. So it's actually 14.
I can't really relate with moany people, but
it's a rough one to take. But you know, we've ridden a lot. We got aces now.
Yeah, we got to get back in the game.
And of course,
he's not a moany person in general, so it's not so bad.
Million. That was fucked. That jack was fucked.
But this is pretty moany.
Wow, that sucks.
I think that is, to be fair, what makes Spraggy so relatable to a lot of people. Like a lot of people who are in the chat, they'll be like 10 and L players or whatever, which is nothing wrong with that at all. But generally lower stakes people, I'm surprised there's only 200 people watching this actually. Generally lower stakes people tend to complain about bad beats more than high stakes people. Most of the high stakes regs that I know, like probably 95% of them, they get a bad beat. They're like whatever.
That's some,
Spraggy can get moany. Yeah, I haven't watched too much of Sprags, I guess, but
that really
I've seen him be very optimistic as well, though.
Troops. Very ugly time to see a jack. We are, of course, all in now.
Sticky slug poker.
I assume if there's an open shove, we're definitely not folding.
Yeah, you're going to be all in a lot of times in this hand.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's hope we don't lose two massive ones back to back.
No. Don't say that. Let's hope we win a massive one.
Please hold. So important. So important. Nice. We're back in fucking business.
Yes, boys.
We do take a smaller bounty, but it's 2,500. We take the ladder. 17.8.
There's a little bit of a moan in there still, but
and nearly 10k here. And we have
I'm excited.
Instant bounce back.
Instant bounce back. It's all in the past. I mean, it would have been much nicer. But
Tonka's really optimistic when he's speaking Spraggy. I don't watch Tonka on Twitch. Is Tonka optimistic for himself, or is it more so just for Spraggy?
Oh, we should have held this and that.
You got to see bet this in this spot, by the way. When you got this stack distribution, you can get away with c betting so much wider. So you got to see bet this.
I mean, I should have fucking already won the tournament with Ace King suited against Ace Jack O there, but and like this booty.
Team never lucky, bro. What do you think? I forgot he scored that.
I'm just happy I made that call with 9-10 because that was the.
Tonka's an optimistic guy.
Shift.
Got it.
And cool. I feel like I worked the hand out well about where I was, what was happening, you know, how I'm perceived to be playing in that spot.
Is he
Well,
talking
it was,
about
like, the
10-9?
big significant shit. I'm just happy I made that call with 9-10 because that was well about where I was, what was happening, you know, how I'm perceived to be playing in that spot, what my range looks like.
Yeah,
So,
and you did it
I'm
always
happy we picked that
no
up.
time on the time bank as well. No, honestly, as a coach, if I saw one of my students do that, I'd be so fucking proud of them. So I think there's a definite so many kudos for that 10-9 hand. Now he goes big. What the fuck? Why are we going big now? Suddenly we've stopped min betting and now we've just gone for the old 78% pot. In a really weird spot to do it. It's a really odd spot to be doing this. It's hard to stack him. That's the thing. Like, it's really, really hard to stack him here. For us to stack him, he's gonna have to have like ace-3 of diamonds and just get it in. But if he has a 5, we're not stacking him. If he has 7-8, like the turn's just gonna be something that we're not gonna stack him. It's yeah, I don't think this is the spot to go big. I think we're just losing value from some stuff.
Bounce back ability.
I 100% agree that showing no emotion is no fun. You know, there's this thing that happens sometimes in the high stakes where it's almost like everyone tries to have a straight face competition in the sickest of spots. You know, it'll be like the biggest tournament of somebody's life. There'll be final 3 and they'll just like 1 out to somebody. And there's this thing where high stakes regs will just sit there and be like, and the 1 out will come and they'll be like, yeah, GG, bro. And inside, you know, there's fucking fireworks. Inside, you know that. And I've done this sometimes when I've seen that happen. I'd be like, dude, you're not gonna fucking celebrate. You fucking 1 out of him. And he's like, and I'm actually thinking of a very specific German person. I can't remember his face. And I just remember it's like cracking a smile and be like, yeah, that was sick. It's like, why are we doing this fake straight face stuff? Fucking celebrate, be human, and especially if you're a streamer. I love showing emotion. However, personally, I'm just in life in general. I'm not a moaner. I don't think there's any value in moaning. Damn.
My initial instinct is to dunk it.
Man, he doesn't have too many bluffs when he goes that size.
That's definitely my first thought.
Like, when Spraggy bets so big and he check raises that size, I don't know if he has any bluffs. Like, I would expect most people to turn up with 0 bluffs here. But I don't know what we do. Because he also just turns up with diamonds a lot. Man, I don't know. What do you guys do? Team only moans sexually. Yeah, I do moan sexually quite a lot, actually. Bro, seen you moan a lot? No, you haven't. Get out of here. I'm not a moaner. Fuck you, I hate it when people in the chat say that I moan. I don't like it. I don't know what I do. Calling's not really an option. Calling is really rough because if the turn is a 9, a 10, a queen, a king, or an ace, or a diamond, we're fucked. You know, we probably just have to fold the best hand a bunch. Unless it's diamond, in which case which pros never have the best hand. Honestly, I'm probably just folding it. I'm probably just folding this one. I expect him to turn up with diamonds and overpairs a lot. And better 8x too. So I'm probably just making a very exploitable fold.
Hard to imagine not at this stack depth. Hold.
Fuck me.
Oh my god. Hold.
Holy shit. Who fucking holds that?
Fucking outs.
That's wild
Heads
shit.
up.
Yeah, I think I'm making a very
Heads up for
exploitable
Bobby
fold
Goodbye,
there.
folks.
It's really
We don't get
interesting.
hit very often. We got $30,000.
Yeah, I didn't remember he had that
Plus
either.
this, we got $41,000 locked up, but my god. 27 blinds away, 30 blinds away from being a W Coupe champion for the second time, and this time an event that the boys can't take the piss out of me for winning.
What was the other
Pretty
W Coupe that Spraggy won?
Maybe I shouldn't be doing limping.
Yeah, I'm not limping that.
Man.
I'm not limping that.
Again,
you can just call a shove if you open.
I wish I knew how to play. Heads up.
Oh wait, no, is it 30? Is it 30 big? Sorry, I thought that it was 200, 400. He's just not shoving super wide at all. You might even be able to call a shove if he shoves. Probably not.
At this depth, with these bounties. This
Wait,
dynamic, heads up. At this depth, with these bounties.
Just saying, these bounties, not relevant. Absolutely irrelevant. The only difference that the bounties make now is it just means that we're playing higher stakes. There's no like bounty equity. Like you're playing heads up. Like everything's equal. You just have like a 50k, or is it probably like a 20k heads up or something like that. And there's no ICM implications. There's nothing apart from just playing heads up. It's like somebody just put 20k on the table and said, okay, you guys are just playing. So the bounty thing is not actually a relevant comment.
This dynamic.
I like the sizing on the flop.
Do our best. We'll do our best.
Good check. I'm not a heads up player by any means, by the way, guys. So I'm just going to be giving my my expert opinion, which is based off my own intuition and rationality.
In the spring.
I feel like I would have been a heads up player if I came to poker a bit earlier. But by the time I got there, everyone was GTO and not. GTO is a lot easier to stick to when you're playing heads up. I mean, it's also harder because ranges are wider, but you can play like a simplified version of it and be less exploitable. Damn. Do I like the check raise on the flop? I feel like I just go smaller. By going this size, you're really polarizing very quickly, and there's a lot of straight draws when you polarize. Whereas if you go smaller, you keep in a bunch more 10x. You can have some fucking jack 10s and shit. You can't go small here. If you bet, you have to be repping fucking 2-pair plus. Check, I don't mind at all. Check works. I mean, he can still have jack 9, 7, 9. We went a bit too big, I think, for 5-6 to be calling. And 6-7's a double gutter as well, so there's that. So we can definitely have the best hand. I think we just check call.
Maybe I check. Pick up equity. Maybe I should just bet. The thing is, I don't want to bet fold my equity now.
Yeah.
I could still have the best of it sometimes.
I don't think he shoves too much, though, that's the thing. That's a nice river to bluff. That's a nice river to bluff.
I definitely don't think I have a flush offered enough. I have 7-9 that will bluff raise flop. Maybe I could just bet as if I'm value betting a 10, try and fold out an 8 or something like 6-7.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. The problem is we have way too many bluff combos and way not enough value combos. We have jack 9 off, so 16 combos of jack 9, 16 combos of queen jack, and then maybe some backdoor stuff, you know, like fucking king 7 of diamonds. So definitely not a fan of this sizing. I feel like if you want to bluff, you have to go quite a lot bigger. I don't think we're getting any folds from anything with that size.
I'm folding an 8, I guess. All good.
Sorry, I said 16. I think the flush came in, so it's 15 combos of both of those. Do you think D-negs benefit more than Poke? No. Doug won like millions, right? I actually watched some of Doug's podcast with Garrett. It's Garrett's his name, right? And I fucking loved it. I thought it was really good. It's so annoying. I fucking love Doug. Honestly, I've got so much love for the dude. It's so annoying that sometimes he could just be an absolute asshole online. But honestly, if he wasn't, he'd be one of my favorite people because he's such an entertaining person. He's really thoughtful. He's really intelligent, and honestly, I think he's just got so much potential to be a fucking phenomenal person. And actually, in all honesty, I think that Doug will really soon stop being so mean to people online as well. So, yeah, shout out to Doug. I really do appreciate what he's done for poker and the way that he's still kind of maintaining good content for poker. I really fucking like the guy, despite the
Just having a bet.
the shit that we had in the past.
Maybe this hand may.
That's a very big sizing tail, by the way. I think. Given the sizes that he's used in other spots, I think this is pretty big sizing tail. That is a nice turn.
Good card.
That is way too big, right?
We're gonna get 29 blinds in.
Yeah.
Block. I think this is a nice hand to overbet.
No, wait.
Very creative line by me when I make.
Wait. There'll be like 10.7 in the middle if he calls, and he'll have like 7 behind. This is just way too big, right? We still want to get value from shit that isn't just an ace. Yeah, you can get stacks in by going a ton smaller. You can just go like pot. Why don't you have sponsors on Twitch? I don't even know what sponsors are. But if that's like a company paying me money to sell their shit, then I don't want that. If a company wants to reach out and I like their product, I'll just shout them out for free. Maybe I'd be a sponsor if I fucking love their product and it was like a long-term sales thing. But very often I don't like having kind of financial ties to companies.
Super.
Hey Z, how you doing? Sizing's bad just because you want to maximize your value that you get, and you want to get stacks in. Those are the two things you want to be thinking about. And he said that he wants to get stacks in, so he needs to go 4 million, and it's just way too big. You'll end up shoving like 70% pot in the river, when if you go smaller, you get more value on the turn, and more calls on the turn, and then you can value at like 1.1 or pot in the river or something like that. What's up, Ryder? Rocky, Quadzilla, rocks in the Charmanders, if anyone's curious. If you want to harass him to get a spot. He loves being harassed. Does our Rocky. Going to be checking down King High. Can probably even check call him in bet on the turn. And check him river.
I definitely need to brush up post session because
bets.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be like
Probably
folding harder here. Like, I have hands that I don't really want to like raise and get jammed on though. I want to keep the dominated King X limps.
Yeah, I feel like
with hands like that.
Like with that, you just want to not.
Seems like a really good
4-3 here. Great spot to go big, but small also makes sense. By going small, you can still get all in by the river. You just have to bet kind of big on the turn and then shove river pretty big. You do get calls from something like Ace-6 by going this small. But by going big, you still get value from his straight draws, from his 4x, 3x, which we block, and then King X is just the main thing. Like we're really just trying to focus on a king here. So there's definite arguments for going big here. There's definite arguments for going small.
Anyone overbetting again? I think I'm just gonna triple. The good thing about this board is it's really easy for me to bluff.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Multiple gut shots.
5, 6, 6, 7, Jack 9, Queen Jack.
Jack 9, Queen Jack. All these types of hand 5, 6 and on the flop.
Saying the same shit as me, mate.
I unblock top pair, so I think I just have a really clean triple.
I like the sizing this time. I think it's a lot better than the one before.
And by God, we hold.
If he jams it, it fucking sucks. I'll tell you that for free. It fucking sucks. We're calling because he often does turn up with like 6, 7 of spades, but actually does it. Maybe he just check calls. Maybe I'm just talking shit. Actually, maybe he just check calls.
It's a hand that's just gonna want to jam.
There's 2 pairs a lot. Sorry, take that back. All right, guys, what are we doing on the river? Actually, maybe you should have been a bit bigger. My brain did mental maths wrong there. Yeah, yeah, I'm just shoving as well. He can turn up with King Jack. He can turn up with King 10. He can turn up with some other 2 pairs, which we're all obviously going to call. But he can also turn up with King 9. He can also turn up with, you know, King Deuce. And I feel like if he turns up with something like King 8, King 9, King Deuce, he's going to talk himself into a GTO call because he doesn't block bluffs. And I feel like he would expect all of our bluffs to go all in as well. So, yeah, all in.
Mediocre river in the sense that my opponent is less incentivized to call because all those backdoor bluffs we just spoke about, like... Still tempted to just shove.
I love it.
Like Jack 9, Queen Jack, they don't bluff anymore.
Oh, dude, 1 sec. Jesus Christ, mate, that was terrifying.
We won the fucking W coup. We won fucking W coup. Oh
yes, boys. Yes, boys. Snapped with King Deuce. That's a GTO call, by the way.
Parker, the boys, 2 in a day. Are we geniuses?
Are we geniuses?
I won 60.
What's 2 in a day?
$8,000 and a W coup, and you won a W coup 5K today, and I won the 1K.
Oh, Tonka won a 5K. Should we review the 5K?
What just happened? I had 4 blinds, like 30 left. Fucking 6 years in the making on stream. 6 years.
Yeah, that almost timed me out is terrifying.
I did it. I fucking won.
Yeah, I think King 5 and King 6 probably find the fold in King 7.
I just won. I won the 1K. Let's take a look at the final scores on the doors.
Have I watched it? I've watched so much YouTube. I might have already watched it. Is it this one? No, wait. He hasn't uploaded for 2 years. Oh. Whoa. Wild. How do we review it then? This one? Oh man, I don't know how exciting this is though. This doesn't seem anywhere near as exciting. We don't have the webcam and we can see everyone's hand. I feel like this would be really boring. Twitch replay, maybe he does have a VOD. Yeah, we'll sort this out later. So that was it. Sorry, my energy's definitely a bit lower than normal. It's just kind of late in the day and I had a really busy day. Actually, it wasn't a busy day. I went to London, and it kind of took the energy out of me. I had fucking 1,000 people watching me just talk shit. Good to hear it, man. Yeah, I went to London, had a singing lesson with maybe one of, if not the best singing teachers in the country. And it was a fucking magical experience. It was so fucking beautiful. And we're going to be working together, so I'm really excited with that. Let's find somebody to raid, guys. And guys, let's try and make this raid a loving raid. Let's try it genuinely. Let's, as a community, let's represent the poker community. We could raid True Geordie. I don't know if you guys want to watch sports though. I feel like as True Geordie's friend, I'm going to be raiding True Geordie. Guys, go say hi from the channel. And go give True Geordie some love. And I'll upload this whole thing onto YouTube, so if you've missed it, then don't worry about it, guys. That's not how you spell True Geordie. And remember, send some kind of compliment, some kind of love, spam some emotes, do something to really make our presence known in True Geordie's sports channel. Peace, guys. That is apparently not a raid. True Geordie. What's going on? Got him. Fucking Twitch Pro, huh? See you guys.
You come out slow and then